Hello. Hey, Kita. Hi. I see Chazz. Let me bring Chazz on. Hi, guys. Chazz, are you
Hey,
there? Hey.
there. Made it.
We're here.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. We already have 5 people on.
Midnight in the UK. Hey, Nanny Shores. You said she said I stayed up.
This is exciting. Wow.
Nanny Shores don't sleep. That's what my nanny friends. She does not sleep. When I say she's up all kinds of times a night.
Shout out to that. Nanny Shars. You know what? I'm going to follow people from here. No, it doesn't look like I can. I can't click on you. Okay. Well, I will follow you later, Nanny Shars. Shout out to you staying up. You stay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I like how international this is.
I know. Don't you love it? I love it too.
I
So we have, this is my first time doing this live. I went on here earlier to try and figure out some stuff. So hopefully we're getting it good. Hey, Nanny Broker.
all of you.
Hey,
Oh,
Marley.
Nanny Shars. Marley Rosen, your people are coming through. They are coming through.
Listen, they are ready. Hey, Izzy.
Izzy.
Izzy
Marley.
is my virtual assistant. Izzy be having me on point.
Okay.
She be getting some stuff together.
I've heard about you, Izzy Key. Shout out to you. I appreciate you.
Hey, guys. Come on in. Because we got some things to talk about today.
Already 11. Okay, not bad. And right before this, I just like jumped on all the comments and just like, oh, 10 minutes away. Like, and it looks like people are coming at EDU Festival.
I'm gonna make sure I save it. I'm not gonna lose it. Remind me before we log off to make sure I save it. Nanny Shars is on it. She's like, make sure you save it.
Oh yeah, do that. Yeah.
Hi, Miss Abilities Queen. Yeah,
Cool.
we wanted to kind of let everybody come in and get in here because I've seen other people lives and they kick you out. They're trying to kick you out at 1 hour. They're like, boop.
Well, hopefully, and we didn't even, and truthfully, we didn't even fully. You asked the question, and I didn't answer it. If we should do a part 2, or we should just go back on it. Maybe we just like play.
Nanny. Yeah, I think what we'll do, because let me tell you, we had our little outline. We was trying to be all professional, y'all. We had our little outline, and then we started seeing all the questions come in through messages and online, and we want to make sure that we get all these questions because they were good.
Yeah.
So just if you can stay up and hang with us to get everything through and get some stuff done, then totally do that. If we get kicked out, we'll come right back in and answer as many questions as we can and see how we get through this first one. You know, it's the first time. We got to figure it out. But we got our support team, so this is good.
Yes.
This is
This
so
will...
we have, let's see. I'm going to go to my little note, y'all, because y'all don't know, but I'm a little nervous. Everybody's so used to me talking. I love the modern nanny. Look at her. She just smiling already. Hey, girl. So, let me see. All right. So, are you ready, Chazz?
I'm ready. I'm going to let you, because my thought process before was to send the outline that you sent to my work phone, but I didn't do that. But it sounds like you have it. I do
have it. I'm ready.
Yeah, so I'll kind of follow your lead and jump in. I did reread it before we went in it, so I kind of have it in the back of my mind. So okay. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, cool. So everybody, I am Kim, and we have Chazz over here.
Yep.
We're gonna do like a really quick explanation of why we wanted to start everything, and do a really quick intro for those of you who don't know Chazz, or, you know, Chazz has his own group of people that follow him. I have my own group of people, and now we're kind of bringing them together. So you guys may not know me, and you know, you guys may not know Chazz and have liked his page, but you sure should follow him. Please follow him. Hey, Late Night Taboo. My friend Nikita Joy is on. That's the one that I told you sent me your link and was like, go check out this guy. He is fantastic. So I was like, let me see. You know, I'm not a TikTok person. I was like, no, I'm old. Y'all trying to get me on TikTok. I was like, give me his link on Instagram. And of course I was wild. So I'm Kimberly Brown, also known as Nanny Kim on the go. And I am a nanny and a parent consultant. And I'm a lot of everything. But most of the time, everybody knows me as this person who always has a kid on her hip or on her arm my whole entire life. Hi, Nanny Posse. Nice for joining. And so what is so crazy is I came into this nanny business literally right out of high school. I used to babysit for my teacher, and she had adopted a kid, and she's like, you know, he loves you. You should just be our nanny for the summer and travel with us and do stuff. And I'm like, that's just on TV. People don't really do that. And she's like, you'd be surprised. They really do. Hi, Nanny Miss Diane. And so pretty much what I did was I started nannying for her. I had 2 boys at the same time. They both were 3. I jumped right in with my 2 3-year-old boys named Michael, and it's been nonstop since then. There's times that I've had like breaks and I've done other things, but I have literally been doing this for 25 years. And I thank you. I have to say, as an MVP in this game that I've labeled myself, I'm ready to just like jump out there. Nanny Chazz has 2 boys too. Yeah. And like, I wanted to get out there, and I'm just like, let me get out there, and I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to say some crazy cool things. But I think that those things will help other people. Hi, Nanny Chella. Hi, Sam and I, Literacy Lady Box. So I really wanted to get on here and just help people get the basics of what they need as far as parents. A lot of the information that Chazz and I have that helps parents and it helps teachers also helps nannies. So that's why it's across the board. I felt like he is younger than I am. He has the male perspective, and he pretty much can speak on things that I may not see, and I may speak on things that he may not see. So we're going to see how this goes. We hope that you enjoy the information that we're giving. But I do have my profile on my picture, on my page, so you guys can see that and go into it more, because we want to get into stuff we want to share. And then I'm going to let Chazz talk for a bit. Chazz.
So my brief kind of introduction, and I have trouble with being brief, but I will do it. Start off as an assistant teacher, became a lead teacher. Other teachers saw kind of what I was doing. They were asking me, for advice. I was giving them advice. As fulfilling as it was for me to have my own little community of learners and being able to grow and develop them and during their formative years, that's super fulfilling to me. But being able to help other teachers do that, and not only just having an impact in my classroom, but having an impact in various classrooms, was really inspiring for me. So then I applied for a different job as an educational specialist, which is my current position right now. And I work with 9 different schools. I go to the 9 different schools. A lot of what I do is helping teachers kind of work through behavior challenges. I also do a lot of orientation, which is like the training inside, outside the classroom. I have the opportunity to observe from cameras, but also be in the classroom. Even though I work with 9 different schools, all the kids in those 9 different schools still know me, and those are over 1,000 kids. I've worked with thousands of kids. I struggled very much in the beginning, and that's what has made me so passionate about helping other people and just learning some You know, some things are simple, some things are a little bit more like complex, require a little bit more nuance. But just learning these things literally changed I would say it would change my life, and I feel like it's changed the lives of so many others. And that has been really kind of the North Star for me. And my purpose in life is to enjoy the process of becoming the best version of myself and help others do the same. So all of this, working early education, just makes sense. Before I was working with teachers in the classroom, to work with all the kids. Since COVID happened, all the kids went home, and a lot of parents have become the teachers. And so I dedicated most, if not all, of my time to working with those parents. And that's why, that was the beginning of my parenting. I call it child development coaching service. So that's on my profile too. But I'm excited to help you guys here right now. And cool. I'm excited. I'll let the flow of it continue. I can talk forever.
I know. You and I both. So let's get right into it. We've given our introductions. We've got people online. They're ready. They want to hear. Let's go through, like, really quick, the difference that you see in a routine and a schedule. Because I know for me, like, some people will say it's the same. It's not. The routine is not the same as the schedule. So what's your take on that?
So, okay, my take on it. So schedule is more, a schedule is more something that is kind of more defined, like written out, typically a schedule. And remember, I'm coming from an, child, development center, early education, school kind of perspective. When we talk about schedules, and in my state, we're required to have a schedule posted on, like, outside of our door, and the schedule will say things like circle time, and then maybe it is interactive play time, and then maybe it's a group time, and then maybe it's lunch outside time, and those are kind of the names of the different. Now routines are a lot more specific, right? Even in that schedule, you may have even in one thing, let's say lunch, right? You may have routines within that lunch. You may have routines with a specific child because that's what they need, because child really helps during that transition time to be the helper. So the routine for that child may be to wash their hands, singing a specific song. My favorite song is top and bottom, in between. Wash them all around. Now they're clean. Usually see it. Yeah. So, that's something that's a part of your routine, right? And then having the child pass out the plates, that could be something part of the routine. The routines are more, you may have in, let's say, your schedule before bedtime, we're going to brush our teeth, but you may have something specific, maybe a toothbrushing song, maybe a way that, you're talking about the toothbrush, or a game you play, or a book you read, or, there are so many things that can go into. So to me, that is the difference between a schedule and a routine. And if I had to say which one was more important, I would say the routines are more important than the schedules per se.
You took the words right out of my mouth with that. Yeah.
My thought is, even if you don't have a specific schedule, you can still have like a rhythm of the day, and children can still be successful because they still understand what's coming up next. Yeah.
I think, like, I think when you were talking, I'm thinking of an example of when I used to teach daycare. And I think I was telling you how I went away on vacation, and we had people come in to take over my class. And they were so mad when I got back. They were like, never go on vacation again. Your kids are the worst. And they were like 1.5. And I'm like, how could they be the worst? And they're just like, oh, because everything I did. They were like, you're wrong. Miss Kim doesn't do it like that.
Right.
We're having music, circle time and music. And they're like, we sing our numbers first in Spanish. And then we do flashcards. And they like, we had our routine, and they were done. They were just like, you're not doing it right. We don't want you here. And the rest of the day was ruined because they messed up their routine, And I'm like, I wrote everything down. Why didn't you go by what I did? And they're just like, well, I just figured it was a loose kind of, and I'm like, not with these, they're on schedule. And they
Yeah.
were telling them, they're like, no, and now we sing this song, and now we do flashcards. So when you have a routine for the kids, they do not play. They're like, right. Nanny Chazz, like, they don't play when it comes to their routine because they know it makes them comfortable and it makes them safe. And that's the thing that, like, a schedule, yeah, okay, we eat, and then after that, we may brush our teeth, and then after that, we go outside, and then we, you know, they kind of know how the day is going to go. But a routine gives them safety, it makes them feel comfortable, and that's what's really important. And that's why we wanted to hit this topic first, because right now, the kids are so off of schedule and they're so off of routine from their norm, and then they're home, and now the parents, the nannies, anybody that's caring for them has to figure out why are they doing the things that they're doing, and it all comes from this place of not feeling safe. We want them to feel as safe as possible. The summer is coming up. Some people can't do their, you know, summer classes and summer school and classes that they usually do, and it's going to be hard for them. Hi, Lori. Hi, Miss Peanut. And so when you have this going on, and then you're trying to add stuff for the summer, realize that you just started a schedule and a routine for them that is now changing again. And kids get uncomfortable, and they will not really know how to say it. So we want to help you make this transition as smooth as possible. So hopefully you have your notebook and you're ready to take some notes, because we're going to go through some stuff. And we got some really good questions too from you know, audience and different people. So we're going to try and hit everything. So the other thing I was going to say is we already talked about the difference between the routines and the schedules. We talked about like the importance of them, but I also wanted to hit on the importance of rest time. Especially as a nanny, one of the big things that you hear parents say all the time is, oh, I feel like they're not doing enough. You need to do something more with them. And you need to, and like the nanny is sitting there like, listen, we have ran around the block. We have ridden bikes. We have like gone outside. We have done this. We have done that. Like, how much more activity do you want? And there comes a time in the day when you literally have to let them rest. Because remember, if they're in daycare, they're not doing that. In daycare, they have a few hours. I know Chazz will talk about that, but they literally have downtime. Even if they don't sleep, they rest. And that is all the way up until kindergarten. So when I hear people say, hey, I have a 3-year-old and they don't take a nap, do they take rest time? Well, no, because then what happens is they won't sleep at night. That's not good. Don't you rest? Do you rest during the day? Do you take a break? You have to have some kind of downtime, and you have to decide with your kid, because you know your kid, what that looks like. So if they don't nap, what does that look like in your house? When do you see the changes happen? Do they start getting super hyper and acting crazy? Do they start talking back? Do they start just whining just for the sake of whining? Do they get really clingy? What does your child do when they're tired? And do you know the signs of them being tired or them being hungry? So that's how I feel. I feel like kids just definitely need rest time. And how are you on that, Chazz? Like, do you feel like, what age is it that they can stop really taking these naps and like?
So what we see around age, and again, and you hit it, and I love that you said, you know, definitely it's all about, you may hear me say it 6 more times, it's all really about knowing your child and really understanding kind of like, you know, how, and seeing really what their cues are and kind of understanding, you know, what that means. Now, in you know, childcare setting, it's most childcares kind of do it the same way, and I feel like it's smart, right? And I feel like it works for me even as an adult. We go outside, right, and we burn out. We do a lot of energy, then we eat, and then we nap. And that tends to work for most kids. Now, there are definitely children who don't, even at the age of 3, who don't nap. And we just ask for them to rest, and they'll like lay on their cots and they'll rest for it. And we do a 2-hour period. Now we do start to see around 4 children growing out of that nap and not, seeing a lot more kids. It is a big difference when I walk past the 3-year-old room during that time, the 3-year-old and younger, and the 4-year-old room, especially towards that end of the year around this time. You do start to see them kind of growing out of their nap, but not everyone, still not all of them, right? So it is about knowing your child, and if you're trying to figure out how to, it's like, okay, I really want my child, even if it's for you, right? Even if you just some downtime, I would highly recommend being very intentional and, going outside. And if you can't go outside, maybe do some gross motor inside, have a dance party, make an obstacle course, or, do something inside where they're using a lot of energy. And then encourage them to kind of lay down and take a nap and rest. And I think, biologically, that's just going to work for most kids.
For most kids, yeah. Because I have a nanny now, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and there are times like the 6-year-old, he can just go, but the 4-year-old, you can tell when she starts declining, it's like, okay, let's just chill and let's have a veg out time, have a snack. Do a show, like do a 30-minute show. We don't do TV that much. We don't do the iPad that much, but take 30 minutes and just relax. And if you fall asleep, you fall asleep. And if you don't, you're still relaxed. Read a book. Let's just, even if that's the time. And sometimes that's the time where we might have a little cuddle party. We sit down and I let them lay on me and we cuddle, and we try and get as much time to enjoy that time so that they'll relax a little. So that's like the main thing. I see you're reading the question. You want to handle that?
I feel like I don't know, I hope I understand this. So the question is, what do you suggest for the calm down period between high energy running and being ready to sleep rest? I suggest eating, honestly, because it does require you to actually literally sit down. And I always talk about how like that first, in a childcare setting, that first couple minutes of them eating, we do our graces or whatever, and they start eating. This is like the quietest, calmest time of the whole day. Them to focus on their food, it does literally require them to kind of stop. And then biologically, after you eat, you get tired too. I know I do. My family, we call it the itis, but
the itis.
But that's what I would suggest. And I hope if I did not answer your question or I misinterpreted, please ask the question again or just help me with whatever I'm missing. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely the food thing, and Nanny Chazz said reading a book, which was one of the things I was saying. Like definitely reading a book. Even if they are just kind of looking through it themselves, sometimes it's just the action of just being calm and just sitting down. My kids, they like science stuff, so their calm time that I've noticed is sometimes they'll just go outside and start looking for rocks. Whatever makes you calm and you're not running around, and they show each other, oh, I found this rock. And to them, that's calming. One of them will get her dolls and just kind of go in the room and play a little. When she goes in her room, I know that she doesn't want to be bothered. When she goes in her room to play by herself, that's when I know, hey, let's just give her space and let's walk away. So that's one of the things too.
I have one more thing too that I've used that's been effective is if you can find one of those like books on like tape or CD or whatever to play in the background, and encourage them to lay down and listen. Usually in a class of 20 kids, that would be kind of part after like the nap, they're settling down on their cots and I'm still maybe helping them. I would play one of those audio books.
Yeah.
I think Napping House is a popular one. Like half of the class would be asleep, and that's like maybe like a 3 or 5 minute period. So that's another thing that I would suggest.
Awesome.
And I like the loveys with the stuffed animals. We also have like a little, and that's like the safety thing too. And I actually want to piggyback off of one more thing that you said earlier about the whole, the importance behind it and the safety and security of just like children do better when they know what is coming up next, when they have time to process what is going to happen next. And that is a lot of times where we struggle, or in our adult brains, we have these things that we want to do that we're focused on. And so sometimes we'll strip them away from whatever they're doing without giving them a warning. And, think about and a lot of times they're really into what they're doing. It's just like, yeah, you play with Legos like all the time. Like you'll play with Legos later. But like, imagine if you're watching, doing whatever your favorite thing to do, watching your favorite show or cooking or gardening or something, and someone came out and was like, stop, give me all your stuff, we're done. Now, maybe you as an adult may be able to rationalize, like, okay, well, maybe there's a good reason. You'll still be frustrated, but you'll be like, okay, well, maybe there is a good reason that I should be doing something else. Right? But children are not regulating themselves that way. So we do need to help them by letting them know what is happening next. And routines help with that a lot, because they already know, they can already prepare themselves along. So I just wanted to say that.
No, that's awesome, because that was one of the things that I was going to say later with when we get to the respect part. But definitely in your routine, you should, like, timers are great.
Yes.
They are amazing. They put the responsibility on the kid, and you can go about doing your business. Giving them options. Hey, this is option A. This is option B. Which one do you want to do? I'm a huge fan of options. I think the given options really teaches them responsibility. It also teaches them common sense. Like, should I make good decisions? So those type of things are really great when you're talking about your routine. And like you said, they don't want to stop right as soon as they're going through whatever they're doing. And, they're like, I just need 5 more minutes. Okay. Sometimes they won't say 5 minutes. 5 minutes is an adult thing. They just say 1 more minute. I'm like, are you sure 1 is all you need? And I'm like, because I'm going to hold you to what you tell me. Are you sure it's 1? So they've kind of got hip to it. They're like, no, 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, if you don't stop, so we can move on to what we have next, then it's whatever happens is on you. Like, I put it back on them. Whatever happens is on you. But, I think giving them that time is really, like, really the best thing to help them figure out when we're changing. And so let me see. She said, I nanny and I taught for 8 years, and I was the nap whisperer. Yes. I have a 3-year-old that won't take a nap. That's the same thing with me. I did all the potty training. I was the teacher that people were, like, paying extra to the daycare to put the kids in my room. And I was potty training at 18 months. And now I have a 2.5-year-old, and she won't potty for me at all. I'm ready to drop her off somewhere and let her get trained by, like, Nanny Chazz in the UK, and she can send her back to me when she's done. So it's because it's your child, and that is, like, a personal thing, because they will take you through the ringer. So definitely we want to, get them ready for that switch before we do it, because that's super important to make sure that we are respecting them and what they need, and where they are. Nanny Shark, look, you didn't say nothing but a thing, because I will jump on the plane. She's saying bring her. So let's tackle really quick this aspect of weekly schedules. We've talked, and one of the things that I said that I do, and I'm a huge fan of, is I'm a fan of planning a schedule that includes activities. Look, she said, leave my baby alone. Everybody's taking up for her. But, but I like to plan activities that'll last for a couple of days or last throughout the week. So one of the things, I went to nanny school, and we had this fantastic teacher that came in and taught on the importance of field trips, the importance of, making projects that last for the week. One, for memory. Kids remember when you make it a several day thing. So, example, and I was telling a few nannies this last week, an example of something that we did this just last week. I did a project with them where we made these little binoculars out of the inside of the toilet paper rolls. So we made these binoculars, you know, they covered them with construction paper, taped them up, did all these designs on them. And they were so excited about this art project for binoculars. That was one thing. So we took our binoculars, we went outside, and we went on a walk, literally around the neighborhood, went on a walk, and they got to do some bird watching. We looked around, we found different birds, we wrote down the birds that we saw, and then I went to the store, I got some bird seeds. Came back, after we got the bird seeds, we looked on the back of the bird seeds to see which birds were attracted to which seeds, which ones would they eat. So that was a whole nother thing. The next day, we took some more paper rolls, we put peanut butter on them, we rolled them into bird seeds, we put them in the refrigerator so that they can get nice and cold and hard. And the next day, we put them out, and we literally watched the squirrels tear it apart because the birds never had a chance. But, you know, we put them out there so we could do some bird watching, and that was a little science experiment for them. But literally, hey, Wendy, City Nanny, we literally did that, and it was a whole, I want to say, a 4-day process to make the binoculars, go do the sightseeing and put down, you know, the birds that we thought would come and get the seeds, make the bird seed, you know, the bird seed feeder, put it out there and watch, and then go back the next day to see what happened. Our hypothesis was the birds would eat it, but we found out that the squirrels like the nuts and the seeds just as much as the birds. And for them, that was a huge thing. And it literally was a whole week project.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so, and I you know, I actually kind of love when things don't go the way that I expect.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, wow, it gives more of a feeling of, wow, we're learning like together. Like I thought it was going to be one thing too. And like we both discovered it. And
yeah,
I do find something more, I feel like there's more value than that. Like, okay, this is what our hypothesis is. This is what's going to happen. And that's what we think is going to happen. And then something else happens. I feel like there's so much more learning. And
yeah.
oh, it's not just birds who would like, was it the peanut butter? Was it the bird seed? Was it where it was? And you know, more questions come out. And
Yeah.
I feel like I love that. I've done so many projects that did not turn out the way that I thought they were going to. But, you know, that's learning too. You know, learning is discovery. And Fiery Chick is on. She sent a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
So I see you, Fiery Chick, and I hope we have. I don't know.
Gotta get some before she leaves, because I know she's got some things going on. So let's hit one or two more things, and then we're gonna go right into those questions, because I think we have a lot of questions, and it's about 8:05, so we got time. I think we're doing good. So hi guys, hi everybody that's joining. Hi Nanny Toto.
Your community is strong.
Is it? No, our nanny community is dope. We have the dopest people. Like everybody's been sharing our event. It's, you know, you have everybody come through. It's so cool. Let's see. So we have our example of schedules. I would say really just try and when you do a schedule, include the parents as much as possible. If you're a nanny, include the parents. If you're a parent and you do a lot of the scheduling for the nanny or for the sitter or whoever, try and include them. But most of all, if you have kids that are old enough to tell you what they like, include the kids. Like make a list of 10 things and say, hey, you know, we've got these 10 things to go on the list this week. What do you want to do? You know, I mean, they'll tell you the craziest things. Like, I just want to play with bubbles. You're 6 and you want to play this. Like, you think bubbles is the thing? I have a bubble machine. And when you talk about nanny needs 10 minutes, woo! I'm like, the 6-year-old is like, we need more bubbles.
Yeah, you'll wear that out.
The amount of bubbles they could pop in one day is endless.
And you know what? You actually bring up a really good point. Like, it is good to have those, like, you know, call them whatever you want, whether it's at home or in school, to have those like kind of like transition, you know, techniques. And maybe, and you know, maybe you have something that you need to do and you want them to kind of be engaged, or to like to be,
Yeah.
to make sure that they're focused on something in the moment while you have to do the thing that you need to do. It's good to be able to pull out things like the bubble machine, and sometimes it's simple as just like pulling out a bunch of like plastic red cups and teaching them how to build it, and they do it in a bunch of different ways. And like sometimes it's as simple as that, and pulling those out when you need 15-20 minutes to, you know, do your own thing. I think part of a question that someone asked too. So
Yeah, I think that was Fiery Chick that asked the question, something like that, about independent play. And I think that is like, we're going to hit that next, because that's like a really huge thing with the kids, is learning independent play. And I'll just tell you a little bit of tidbit. It's something that you teach. It's not something they're going to do on their own. It's something that you teach. So we're going to talk about that, because I'm a huge fan of independent play. I come from a house where I was the only child, and my mom didn't really have to entertain me all day. It's harder when you have multiple children, because then they don't really know how to play on their own. And so you become their toy and their entertainment, and you have to teach them how to not depend on you to do that. And when they're in school, there's constant activity. And now they're at home, and there's like, I'm bored. Well, I'm bored. Well, what are you going to get me to do because I'm bored? And you're like, I just gave you something to do. Like, you're sitting there like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so bored? But it's like, like, asking Nanny, she's like, just go and pee.
yeah,
They need an activity. Like, just go into the bathroom. You're like, can I just get a minute alone? Like, just get away from the door. You know,
well,
so.
Sure, you don't get to go pee. You gotta wait till someone relieves you. And then
And that's how it is.
that too.
So
You
it's
don't
like,
wrong.
it's totally, it's totally different when they're in the daycare setting and when they're home with, you know, with a nanny. If they have stayed home and they've been home with a nanny the whole time, you know, they're used to it. But then they go to, if they're in the daycare setting and now all of a sudden they're home and they've been home for 3 months, and it's like, I can't see my friends, I can't do this. It's hard for them. It's a hard transition. And you know, it's hard for the adults. My mom is having a hard time with being home from work and working from home. Like,
thrown off, right? Our routine, right? I have like, I'm really good. Like, I'm on it about bringing like trash cans in and out, like I like all day. But I'm telling you, during the quarantine, or during the time when I was not working, I can't tell you how many times I just forgot when trash day was, right? It's something simple and easy to do, and the trash was piling up. It was a problem, and I wanted to do better, but I was just so thrown off of my routine that I and you know, I start to try to, you know, think of new routines. Okay, well, when it's Monday, and then I forget the days of the week. So as adults, you know, we better when we know what's coming next, when we kind of have a routine.
it's important. It's important. I'm looking at, you know, Waters Bella saying that she has a set of index cards on a book ring. Those are so cool when you make your own. I love those. She said that's her fail-safe activity, and painting the sidewalk with water. That's really cool too. I feel like, hi Katie Clay, like those are really, really like fun things. And the thing is, everybody can have different activities, because if you know your kid and what they like, sometimes I tell the kids when they start getting rambunctious and they're just beating up on each other. The 6-year-old is beating up the 4-year-old. My 2-year-old, because she goes to work with me, she's just running around behind them because they're running. They're screaming. The mother's trying to have a Zoom call, and I'm just like, hold on. take me now. You know, I literally have to say, hey, stop. You in this room. You in this room. Take the toys. Like, I have to separate them because they get to such a high level of just insanity that even a snack break is not enough, because they'll be at the table throwing grapes at each other, and you know, it's just like, I'm like,
Yeah.
a minute, like you need a minute. So I think knowing that time and being able to figure it out and work that into your schedule and your routine is better than letting them get to a point of this high anxiety and craziness. And I think that comes with, you know, taking a notebook, watching them, observing them for the week, and say, listen, I notice every day around 11 o'clock, you get this extra boost of energy that is taking you over the edge, and I can't bring you back down. When you get to a point where you feel like you have to yell over the crazy, you've waited too long. You missed your transition. You got to know your transition moments, and that is super important. And kids change all the time. They're constantly, they're growing, they're getting older, and you know, at one point that transition time may have been at 11, and now it's at like 10:45. And if you're missing it, you get to 10:45 and they're already here when you could have stopped it somewhere in between. So if you're having that problem in the middle of your day and it's not nap time, then you're missing the transition time, and you need to take a look, you know, take 2 or 3 days and figure out when that transition time is, to try and switch them to a more, either a calmer situation. Maybe like what I do with my kids when they hit that point and I've missed it sometimes, I stop them. I'm like, you want to run? You have this energy? Outside. Everybody, shoes on. Out. Yeah, like, go out the house.
Yeah.
Like, I am like, I can't calm you down at this point, so you just need to work it out. Just
right.
Work it out.
And I think Fire Chick actually asked a question about like, you know, what do I do if they seem to have too much energy? And I will answer that with, you know, in this, what I'm about to say, pay attention, y'all, because what I'm about to say answers 99% of questions, okay, and 99% of struggles. It's going to take more, you know, we're going to have to dig into this a little bit more, but what you want to do is you want to see what the behavior is, identify what the behavior is, and then try to understand, because all behavior is communication. That behavior is communicating some kind of need, right? And the more you observe and the better you know your child or your children, the better you're going to be able to identify what need that behavior is expressing. Once you figure out what that need is, you want to do a combination of 2 things. One, meet the need. So just like Kim was saying, like, they have a lot of energy, let me meet the need. Like, let's go use that energy. Let's go burn out. Let's go outside, right? Let's go run. And the other thing that you want to do, it's a little bit more long-term, is teach them how to meet their own needs. And that's going to be a combination of them learning how to identify their emotions and learning like what their body feels like when they have too much energy, or they're mad, or they're sad, and then learning coping mechanisms and learning kind of what to do that. And those are the kind of things that like us as coaches can help and guide you through. But you as, you know, or whoever the caregiver is, whoever knows the child, you know, what you have to do is see the behavior and identify what need that behavior is communicating.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's really observation. The kids we have to really be sensitive. And this is one of the things that I put down, speaking about the importance of respecting your child and their opinions and what's happening to them, the scheduling, the routines, the, you know, different people in and out, the people that they usually have in and out that are not there. Like, my daughter is 2.5, and after, I want to say a month or a month and a half of us being in quarantine, she came up to me one day and she was so serious and so distraught. And she gave me this look, and she like kind of got in my face. And I'm thinking she's going to tell me something like she needed a snack, you know, because usually that's when she's serious. She was like, Mommy, I need to see people. I need to see people. And she was dead serious. She was like,
love that.
She was like, I need some people. Like, I'm used to going to school. I'm used to going to work with you. Like, all I've been seeing for the past month and a half is just you. Like, I'm done. Like, every time the nanny broker could tell you, she was doing a live and I jumped on with her one day and my kid was like, let me get on your lap. Let me see. She was just like, hi, who is it? Is it Gigi? Because she called, asked the nanny Gigi. She's like, is it Gigi? Like, she just was like, I just want to see somebody. Like, get me out of this house. And I mean, she didn't understand what was going on. She didn't understand why we weren't going to the grocery store, why we had bought tons of groceries and didn't have to go back out. She just didn't get it. And her 2.5-year-old mind was like, I don't know how to express it any other way, but I want to see people. And I had to explain to her, you know, we will see people soon, but for now, this is what we're doing. And I had to be respectful of her because that was her feelings and her emotions. And she was over it. She was done. And so you have to realize that she's 2.5 and she doesn't really do daycare. She's with me. She goes to work with me. Imagine going to school every day and now you don't have your friends and you can only see them on Zoom for 30 minutes to an hour a day. You know, you don't get to hear what's going on. You don't get to ride bikes with them anymore. You're not meeting them at the park, you know. So to them, they're going through something that's traumatic. They're grieving. They're dealing with the grieving process just like you are.
Yeah.
And this is very real for them. And when you don't let them express their feelings, when you don't take time to sit down and talk to them about their feelings, when you haven't really given them that moment to woosah and say, like, I'm really pissed off today. I don't want to be in the house. I really don't want to follow this routine. I think this is stupid. I'm not going to go anywhere. And as soon as they start talking, you're like, don't talk to me that way. Don't say this to me. You know, I think you touched on it. Like, you want them to have all of these emotions and not be able to express them. And they are human, just like us. It is our job, especially as nannies, because we deal with helping to build their emotions and helping them to understand life. And even as parents, it's our job to prepare them for adulthood. Part of preparing them is to help them figure out how to deal with their emotions. So I know for me, you know, people look at my daughter and they're like, she's so like mature. Eventually, I'm not going to be here and I need her to understand how to communicate. Eventually, she's not going to be around me. I've heard someone talk before and we had a conversation and we talked about emotionally strong children. And one of the things she said, when I was younger, and I know this is a tough subject, but I'm just going to bring it up anyway because that's who I am. She said, when I was younger, we were always taught not to disagree with adults. We were always taught, you know, what adults say is what it is. And pretty much what ended up happening was that she said, when I had an incident where an adult touched me inappropriately. And she said, and I feel like if I had ever been given the chance to say, no, this is my body, don't touch me. Or no, she said, I would have known better. She said, now I'm a mom and I teach my children that. I teach my children, it's okay to say no to an adult. It's okay if you're feeling uncomfortable and you don't like something. And when she said that, I said, bingo, that is healthy teaching. Mm-hmm. That's healthy teaching, you know? And a lot of people don't agree with that. But my daughter knows, like, hey, that's somebody's body and you have to ask to touch. If you want to hold their hand, can I hold your hand? You have to ask. You have to be respectful of people and they have to be respectful of you. And that's helping them in a way to get through that process of learning what to do with their emotions. So I'm going to let you tackle that a bit, and because I think this is really important. I don't want to just blow over it.
Man, so many things there. one thing I would say is, I would add, you mentioned, nannies and parents. I would also add that it is also, if there are any teachers out there, it is also your job to teach them, social emotional skills. That is what is going to help them, not, and you also touched on something, you said that's healthy teaching. I think we need to have more conversation about how do we have, grow, emotionally healthy, children and adults. Like,
Yeah.
how do we do that as opposed to just trying to shove as much information into their brain as possible? And, and for so many reasons, the social emotional skills and the social emotional learning is so important. I would argue with anyone that's more important than the, learning any amount of facts, because those social emotional skills, one, they're going to help you acquire that knowledge throughout life. Two, they're going to help you, they're going to help you, you're going to be going through emotions for the rest of your life. And, and there's so many things that can happen as an adult, and so many things that happen, and I bet you even have someone who you've worked with who maybe they've been really smart. You could be the smartest person on the team, the smartest person on the planet, but if you're a jerk, you're going to bring the team down and you're going to be less valuable. I would rather have someone on my team that maybe doesn't have as much knowledge, but is able to work with people and knows how to, empathize and understand, other people's emotions and, be considered. I'd rather have that person on my team. And it's not just me. That's something that, of the whole emotional intelligence movement of that employers are looking for too. So yes, on not just them personally, the healthiness of their life. And there's been so much discussion about, like, depression rates on the rise and all the, well, why don't we start, what will help, and, what will help not just people with depression, not just people who struggle with expressing their emotions. What helps everyone is understanding your emotions, knowing how to express them, and also being understanding other people's emotions. That's going to help you be successful and help others be successful. And isn't that what we all really want from, our children out of life? Like, don't we want our children to go through life not only being happy themselves, but also impacting other people and helping other people be themselves? So, on that note, and then I also, in terms of the teaching how it empowers children, to teach them about their, emotions and what's okay, that, like, you are in charge of your body, and teaching them that, no, stop. Even if they are two or not quite two yet, they don't have a lot of words, especially in, my, a school environment, a childcare environment, where there are other children that age group who don't understand boundaries. We teach them to say, no, stop, right? And we help reinforce that. We make sure when that little boy or that little girl says stop, that the other child does stop, because we want to teach them that there is power. You do have control and power over, your body. And I would also add too, for anyone who is struggling or going through power struggles with your child, I'm a big believer in, trying to give your children as much power as you can. Children go through, their life not having very much power at all, right? Especially, especially infants and toddlers and twos. But in the 2-year-old age, they're starting to really, 2 and 3, they're starting to really, like, they have more control over their bodies, and they can run, and they're starting to say words, and they're learning about their independence. And, that's a good thing. And we should, rather than trying to strip power and trying to hold as much power as we can as the adult, we should be trying to find ways to give them more, right? How can I teach them, even if something as simple as teaching them how to, scoop their own food, right? That gives them power. And anything that and by the way, a lot of those things are going to require us to teach them how to use that power. But in the long run, everyone's happier. The child is learning so much more. They're more successful. You're more successful. You're going to be more happy about your, your parenting, your teaching, and they're going to be more happy, confident kids too. So that's kind of what I would say on that.
Yes, I agree. Late night taboo is she saying that expression is so good and so important for them to be emotionally, and it is important. And then Marley is saying that they taught their son sign language, and let me tell you, I'm not even going to go into sign language. If they are under a certain age, it empowers them. It gives them a language to speak. You have less tantrums. Sign language is amazing. How early can you start it? When they're born.
Yes.
I think that is why she speaks so well. We taught her sign, and every once in a while she's like, I said I want more. You're taking too long. Maybe I need to do it in another. Hey, if you want more, I got you. She'll let you know. She's very vocal, and I love that about her. I wouldn't change it. We were talking yesterday, and we were on the phone for a while before this, and I was telling Chazz about the one family that I had, and he's like, you gotta talk about this. But I had a little boy, and he was very, very, very high IQ, but he would get upset. He had a temper if you told him no, and he couldn't really express himself, because they're in school all day, and you can't do the things that you want to do. He would come home, and this is where he should be able to relax. So we would go through these moments, and I would say, you can't have this, or you can't do this, or we're going to do this first. And he would get upset. And I could tell he was getting upset because he was very calm, but his face would start turning red. Like his face would literally get beet red. And I'm like, you're upset. Maybe you should let that out before you end up like hitting your brother, because that's what happens a lot of times. They end up, I can't take it out on the adult because they're the adult. So let me go after the other person who can't hit me back or can't beat me up, and I'll deal with whatever consequence I get, but at least I have released this energy, and somebody, I feel good. Somebody's crying, but somebody feels good. And so before he would do that, I would say, listen, I realize that you're having a problem. So one of the big things, realize what's going on and let them know that you get it. I get what's happening. I see what you're going through. So now I'm going to give you a solution to that problem. I'm going to set my timer, my trusty timer that I love so much. I set my timer and I say, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. And at 2 minutes, I don't know if we're going to get kicked out in a couple of minutes because it's almost 8:30.
Yeah, I to mention that. And I'm loving the conversation so much. I want to continue.
Yeah.
Also want you guys to come back when we do it next week.
No, the week after. We're going to do it every other weekend. Every other Friday. So we're going to, if we get kicked out, we're going to log off. We're going to come right back because we want to answer the questions. We're going to get to the questions that everybody posted. And just in case we get kicked out, I see a question mark or something. I'm going to take a picture of it right now. Just in case. But we ended up.
That it does build self-confidence and giving them and allowing them to use it and teaching them how to use it. Yes.
Absolutely.
They grow confident in their abilities and they become successful and they become more successful, and that's going to reinforce their confidence. Yeah.
Absolutely. We agree with that. And so really quick, I was saying that he would do this little thing when he'd get upset. I would pull up my timer, and just to respect him and show him that I understood, I would tell him, I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. Matter of fact, I'll give you an extra minute. You've got 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, you can tell me exactly what you want. Exactly how you feel about me. And guess what? You won't get in trouble. There'll be no consequences. Even if you slip up and say a bad word, you're good. And he would look at me, he'd look at his brother, and he's like, your mom's not going to fall for that. I'm like, put the timer on. You will not get in trouble. And he was like 6 or 7, so it was interesting. The timer would go off, and he said, you're the meanest nanny I know. I hate you, and you have a big hair, and you go to Dunkin' Donuts all the time, and you eat donuts, and you are fat, and you have big hair. And he would start repeating stuff, and I'm like, you got 2 more minutes. You know, he'd be trying to think